South Africa and government promises itself to create or wants to create 11 million jobs by 2030. That's 10 years from now. Let's make it 11 years, which is 1 million jobs every year. And according to the plans by the Department of Small Businesses, 85% of these jobs must come from small businesses, must be created by businesses that are actually new, not the businesses that currently exist. Now, the question is, where? Who's going to create those businesses? Who are these businesses? Where are the opportunities for these businesses? Joining me in studio is Mahapa Mpitso from Township, and I need to declare he's a friend and a golf enemy, which means I take more of his money than he takes mine. And I'm so glad to have him here. Bon, I've mentioned this stat. I love it. It sounds so great, but I really want to get right to the heart of it. If 85% of these jobs, which is 9.3 million, are going to come from new businesses, where are these businesses coming from? I go to the township, I go everywhere. It's the same businesses. It's the mall that crops up. It's the same retailers that I see. So where are these businesses going to come from?
Well, that's a good question and a great opportunity. Hopefully one that we'll not miss. Because it now suddenly forces government to say we have to redirect investment or resources in creating those new businesses so that they can create the jobs.
Yes.
Now, if you have to create 9.3 million employment or employees or jobs, means you have to create at an average, if you take 50% of that coming from entirely businesses that employ less than 10 people, says you need 50,000 businesses a year. That's as simple as
50
per year.
That's huge.
New businesses.
50,000 new businesses averaging 1 to 10 people.
Yes. So if you find most of them are employing 2, you have to double that number or even triple it.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, these new businesses can only and should actually, majority thereof, come out of the townships and villages, because that's where the population is. I'm saying it's a great opportunity because then some money, hopefully, touch wood, will be directed into township businesses.
Well, I have heard that before. I mean, every MEC I can think about, at least in Gauteng, but I've heard it in other provinces. They talk about township economy. I mean, when we listen to the SOPAs and the SONAs, that's what we hear every year. But I'm not. Is there a plan in your space where you work? Are you seeing a plan? Are you seeing something being done?
Well, like anybody would say, when there are challenges like this, that's when opportunities and ideas and hustlers really come to the fore.
Yes.
And that's why I'm saying it's an opportunity. We in Soweto, with the Township program that we've started, it's not intended to be a Soweto-based business.
Yes.
It's a movement that's supposed to take over the country, and any other small business or a person that exists in a community can start building an ecosystem. Yeah. And that ecosystem says, out of that, we have to create an environment to support each other. The biggest issue is that the township population, with the economy that exists there, the money, let's talk about money, let's stop calling this thing an economy. The rents and cents that are existing and circulating in those townships don't end up in the hands of the businesses in the townships. That's the biggest problem. So we need to build an ecosystem where the consumer in the township starts appreciating the business person that's there in that community. But the whole thing has got to be reversed. The small business has got to understand, I need this consumer more than they need me. But for that to happen means we got to train the small business person to understand what service is, what customer is, and what quality is.
Is that where you come in? Oh, actually, let me put the question differently. What does Township do?
Right. Township trains small businesses on a premise and understanding that we are first-generation businesses in the townships. As I was saying earlier, it means nobody has inherited the business from anybody from the beginning. So if it is so, then we have to understand that most of the people that start business in the townships are technicians. You've got a trade. You know how to put together something, but that doesn't make you a business person. And that therefore means you now have to be an apprentice to learn what business is.
Yeah.
So take your technical skill, technical knowledge, your ability to build, ability to plaster, your ability to repair, your ability to do hair. Sorry, you and I are not
Yeah,
good
not
clients
very-
for
we're not
the
gonna help those
salon
guys much.
shampoo. But then that skill that you have now got to convert it into a business.
Yes.
And that's where By Township comes in. We say, let's take through businesses and aspiring business owners in the community and teach them the fundamentals of setting up and running a business, not for the sake of it, but for it to be successful and profitable.
Sounds good, and I would hope that small businesses are responding and they're doing, the technicians are coming in and doing that. The reality is that most of us, with no history of business, with no income whatsoever, I have no patience to go to class, to go to learn how to become a businessman.
True that.
I sometimes don't even have the means, financial means, if it takes for me to take a taxi or to do that. How do you get government or corporates to be involved in this?
Well, this is why we're saying the By Township movement comes and should exist in the community where people are, so that you reduce this infrastructural cost of travel and logistics.
Yes.
At least eliminate that. And it is out of the fact that we are aware are people who have to and who need to or who get into business because of anything else is because they're unemployed.
Yes.
It's more of a need than a knowledge or it's subsistence.
Yeah.
So if it is so, we need to bring the systems and the tools closer to where they are so that they don't have to travel. Well, talking about funding and all that, I have to give a regard here. Exaro has gone a long way in supporting us in this regard. So Exaro Resources funded us to set up a program in Belfast and in Lepala.
Yes.
So in the past 2 years, I've been able to set up, process and train 60 entrepreneurs
This is
in
why I
those
met
two
you in
communities.
Limpopo at some point.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm happy to tell you that some of the people that we trained in Lepala, about 4 to 5 of them, have just earned to themselves about 500,000 grants from the Department of Small Business.
Mpitso, that's exactly where I was going to go to. Because for me, this plumber, let's give him a name and call him Freddie.
Yeah.
Freddie is a plumber. He works in say, Phosphorus.
Yeah.
He can do 2 or 3 jobs, but doesn't really know how to do a business. If he went through this movement and learned the basics, it is easier for him to pick up the bigger contracts. Because if he doesn't do the smaller things well, he's never going to do the big ones.
True that. So the smaller things immediately says your neighborhood community, your neighborhood consumers are your first target.
Yes.
Or your first line of support. Once you've got that part, which then also says when you come through our centers and for training, you then learn the skill of how to support that person who is a consumer.
Yeah.
If there's a phone call that comes through, you don't ignore it because you are worried that it's some company that you owe. You answer the phone.
Yeah.
Even if you owe somebody, there's nothing, that person don't come out of the phone and kill you. You answer the phone because it could be Mahapa that needs your service. And if it's so, that education has got to come from somewhere. We did Arayanya Letswele.
Yes.
So you got to learn it somewhere. So most of the companies out there, and particularly, as I say, within the mining sector, there is some decent support that one sees. Yes, the corporate South Africa has access and is funding some. But we're hoping now they start bringing that money more into the coal face.
Yes.
The townships and villages are truly the coal face. That's where the resource and the numbers of people are. The youth unemployment that we're sitting with now, which everybody has called the time bomb, is a serious time bomb. And the only way we can solve this is by giving and putting resources into skilling, upskilling, and empowering the youth to create this new employment.
I'm a critic, and it's not a secret, of people putting lots of resources into training, reskilling, things that you talk about, but we don't give them access to market.
True that.
For me, when there is no access to market, there's no business. It doesn't matter how big your brain is.
Yep.
If you have no market, you've got nothing. So it's great, for corporates to say we will give ESD money, 3% of our profits after tax and blah, 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 blah. But are we getting them to say, and yes, Freddie, you can then also come to Sandton City and you take care of all our toilets as a plumber.
Now, you've just nailed it. Our belief is that to build a relationship with a very corporate funder, the money is one thing. We need it. I won't say it's nothing.
Yes.
It's a good start. But on the back of that, it would help if that corporate then opens some space to say, how else can you use the environment I have for me to actually earn my value of my investment and also give you value of return? Because as soon as this Freddie, qualified as it is, and let's call him Mampo for a change.
Yes, for a change.
Yes. Baker Mill, and the cookies that they produce are some of the things that actually can be consumed in any corporate environment. And if it is so, wouldn't that company open an opportunity for this lady, Mampo, to bring the cookies almost once every week? Wouldn't that suddenly give Mampo a concerted and consumers that are, because that's a market. So when you talk about access to market, it also means opening the market that you already have. Let's not make this thing abstract. Make it easy, open the door of a corporate environment and say, I've got 100 employees, what is it that they can do? What is it that you're providing that they can buy from you?
So, Oz Mampo now listening to us, in any township or village, why should they be part of this movement called Buy Township?
They come into the movement to create an ecosystem. One, we have to learn as businesses ourselves, first of all, to buy from each other. It is when we're in an ecosystem, in an environment, that we get to know each other and we realize that this thing that I need, it's actually sitting just next to me. So as soon as we support each other, and it's been shown that when money circulates in a community, so in that case of a Buy Township environment, when that money circulates there, our life changes. Our lifestyle improves. Our ability to buy and grow changes. That is such a small process to do. So as soon as somebody gets into an environment like that and they start appreciating, supporting one another, it then starts building. And when you multiply that from the fact that you'd have trained these small businesses to appreciate the township consumer, then the township consumer sees a need to support that business. So the other side of this coin is that we then need media specialists like you, Rems, to teach and educate our consumers to say, hey, we've got the small businesses, even on a business directory, which we've set up called Buy Township, where the only businesses that get onto the Buy Township platform are those that have been trained.
Yes, so you are guaranteed.
No, yes, sir.
These are not fly-by-nights.
These are not fly-by-nights. We need to know where you are operating from. We need to see your tax clearance and need to know you exist. So that at the end of it all, if anybody complains about the quality or lack thereof of your service or your products, we know who to go to. And so we are saying, and that is why the Buy Township Directory, we are not in a rush to build it into multitudes of people, but we want to build quality suppliers.
You'd rather have 10 good suppliers than 10,000 bad guys.
Because then at least anyone who goes on the directory and supports somebody gets quality service.
I want to take you back quickly to the issue of the ecosystem. The other side of, you already had said the flip side of the coin, let's create a three-sided coin. Okay. And the other side of that coin would also be, when you do that, you are spreading the risk. One of the things that I think we fail to do as small business people is to spread the risk. I make nails, the picker. But I also want to be the guy that transports them to the guy who does the construction. It shouldn't.
It doesn't.
There is a guy who owns a van who could own that part of the business of distributing the nails. It takes away the pressure from me, but it's his business that distributes the nails.
But that's why an ecosystem. Until you sit with other people, you fail to discover that some of the things that are byproducts that somebody gets rid of, they don't use, could be used by someone else. And that is why if you look at woodwork and carpentry, there's a lot of things that come off there that they have to throw them away. And yet people in a filling station or in a car dealership or mechanic, they need that dust or whatever to clean the oil and the grease in the environment. So the byproduct of somebody becomes an input to someone else. And that is why that ecosystem would work. I mean, for one, we've said in the pursuit of this 900,000 jobs, we are saying we would like to train only 10,000. In the next 10 years, we're also aligned. We only want to train 10,000 businesses because we believe when we do 10,000 businesses and they become quality businesses, we can now go talk to about 10 million consumers in the country to support them.
my bosses are going to kill me. We're running out of time. But I also wanted to touch also on, and maybe it's a conversation for another day, because I had a chat with you about this thing when I was wearing a different hat some time ago. The concept of digipreneurs, because that's another core of people you want to create as business people, using digital tools to become entrepreneurs. Just briefly, what is it?
What we believe is we have been consumers as township and village residents. Yeah. We're sitting with a youth population that specializes in playing with those toys. Yeah. They're so good marketers, they don't know. They're so good in sales, they're not using it. So when we talk about digipreneurs, we're saying, when you sit on Facebook, when you sit on Twitter, how about you do that to market somebody's business? How about you do that promoting some good work that other businesses are doing in the community? And out of that comes an employment for yourself. Because I can't employ a marketing agent or a marketing person full-time. However, if we put within By Township, we say we put 10 SMMEs, put one person to support them as a digipreneur, gets to understand their business and does promotions for them, sitting at home.
And using their gadget at home.
At 500 Rand a month, I can afford somebody at 500 Rand a month. If there's 10 of us, that's 5,000 Rand a month. Is that not a job?
And now we know data is going to be cheaper, so they save more money.
That's it. So, and again, that's for not only saving more money, more reach. Because now that same rent can go further, they can do more work, they can actually upload even pictures. So the aspects of digipreneur says we're taking college or undergraduates that are unemployed and they're growing in numbers. And let's convert them into businesses. And by doing what? By supporting small businesses. And that's where the intention is. And that ecosystem just keeps on growing and then becomes successful.
How do people join the movement?
Simple. It's very simple. Frankly, you can go online on www.bytownship.co.za. You can drop me a mail on still at info@bytownship.co.za. And or you can phone or WhatsApp or SMS, whatever you want to do, on 082-730-4112. 082-730-4112. Then we're able to follow up. Particularly, we're looking at people that want to build the ecosystems in the townships. We are Soweto based. We have access with contacts in Tembisa. We want to have those footprints where somebody is doing what we do in those communities so that there's a marriage of convenience, really.
We're going to repeat all these details. In fact, we're going to try and repeat them all the time because I think everybody must join this movement. Mahapa Mpitso. Thank you very much. I hope to speak to you soon about something else. Somewhere. So when we have a chance, I'd like to invite you back and we talk about that.
We appreciate
Mahapa Mpitso, wonderful chatting to you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Till next time.
Thank you.